There it is there. It's just still taking a little while to load. Hopefully when it will load, we'll get it underway. There it is, fantastic. So the stream's up, the chat's up, we're all good to go. Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to round 3 of the Transnation Championship. We are here at Shanghai International Circuit for the Chinese Grand Prix, a 3.38 mile or 5.45 kilometer 16 turn racetrack, first used in 2004. It was designed by great track making Supremo Herman Tilke, and it's one of the most expensive racing facilities ever built in the world of motorsport. It has some very unique features. The snail-like section, that is turns 1, 2 and 3 and 4, incredibly tight, very, very twisty. You have to be incredibly patient, especially if you're not using traction control, otherwise you'll just spin your car around. Got the high-speed S's in the second sector, and of course the iconic kilometre-long back straightaway between turn 13 and 14. Turn 14 being the most prominent overtaking point on the entire racetrack. Generally speaking, Shanghai, it's developed some okay racing, but it's a bit, sometimes it can develop pretty boring races, but hopefully we won't see that for tonight's race. Alongside me once again is Michael Garone Jr. Michael, as we spoke in last week's stream, this is one of your favourite racetracks on the Formula One calendar.
Yeah, and I'm really excited for tonight. Earlier race we had was very, very exciting, very compelling race towards the end. And yeah, I'm thinking we're going to get something similar to that. This track is usually pretty good in terms of a real exciting race in terms of league racing. So yeah, I'm ready to go.
So we'll just ride on board with Andrew Honda, one of the reserve drivers for this race. We'll take you on a guided tour of the racetrack, around turn 1 into the tricky braking zone of turns 2 and then into turn 3. Bit of locking up there, we'll see that from guys who aren't using ABS. A bit sideways on the exit, as I mentioned. Can't get too greedy at the exit of turn 4. Around turn 5, flat out into the heavy braking zone of turn 6. We might see some overtaking here, most notably on lap 1. Then into turn 7. Not quite flat out. No, it is flat out in these conditions. I thought you might have needed to lift through there, but no, flat out in the dry. Then turn 8 and then turns 9 and 10, these two left-handers. You have to be careful on the exit of 10. If you run too wide there, you'll get a warning and invalidate your lap time. Into turns 11 and 12, we might see a little bit of overtaking here, but you want to save yourself up on the run through 13 and onto the back straightaway. A whole kilometre long straight. You have to be very, very patient here. Opens DRS. You can see the speedo climb up and over 330 kilometres an hour into the heaviest braking zone on the racetrack, turn number 14. And then there's this, as Sebastian demonstrates one of the dangers of turn number 14, and then turn 15. There's a small right-hand kink after the hairpin. That's a corner. Then around the final turn, turn 16. And Honda sends a benchmark time 1 minute 29.7 effectively. But yeah, Sebastian, a little bit of a asking too much of the car and spinning out. Oh my word. But, some other drivers setting lap times. Justin Laprade does a 30.8. Brian Beal does a 31.2. Christopher is rounding the second last corner, coming towards the final turn, as Dion does a 32.5. Christopher coming up and towards the line does a 33.2. So at the moment, Andrew head and shoulders above the field at the moment. Knowing, Michael, that this is one of your better racetracks, what do you think it takes to go very, very fast around here?
It's gonna take a car that is really, really good and really solid in the key traction zones. Turn 4, super important. Turn 6, super important. The exit of 10, very, very important. 12 into 13, important. And then, yeah, your second to last corner, the hairpin, super important. All key traction zones. So for me personally, it's a track where I set up for the car may be a little bit understeery and hard to get turned into the corners, but as long as you give yourself some nice straight exits, you're going to gain a ton of time every lap just getting the power down nice and clean. Keep the car under you nice and stable. So I think that's going to be the key. Taking care of the tires is going to be important as well.
I have noticed that as a driver that Shanghai traditionally is quite a brutal circuit for tyre wear. What do you think would be the ideal strategy for the guys on track?
Well, I think we see a lot of guys out on mediums right now, trying to get decent laps in, and that's because I think your best strategy, your optimal strategy, is going to be the medium to hard. Now, whether you could start where you want to by doing a lap on the mediums, you can't really. The mediums over one lap are quite a bit off the softs. But if you do have to start on the softs, you could just go for a nice soft hard strategy. The softs last basically forever here, and they feel pretty good. So I think top guys will just do the soft hard. Outside the top 10, however, I think we're going to see a lot of mediums and hards at the start.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for that, Michael. Very, very helpful information there. It'll give us a fairly good idea of what the drivers inside and outside the top 10 will do. And also, I have forgot to mention, this man here, the Heretic, also known as Taylor Hodge, has taken a full-time seat in the Alpha Racing Point team. He's only joined the league very recently, but he's found himself in a seat in the Racing Point. Currently 7th out of the people who have set a time with a 32.5. That's not a bad time, actually. Only a couple tenths off some of the guys who are fighting at the top of the championship. But and also RP Mazing Chris Murphy. Now where are you? There he is there in 11th. He's now taken a full-time seat in the Mercedes car as well after his performance last week as a reserve at Bahrain. He's now taken up that full-time seat in the Merc. So a little bit of news in regards to that. And also I should probably mention the championship. Mathieu Elia is currently leading. Not by much though, as you'd expect at the very beginning of the championship. Right in behind him, I believe, is Cameron, currently 10th place in qualifying. I think it's something like 2 points separating the drive. No, sorry, 7 points separating the drivers. Oh, I'm wrong again, wrong table. It's 4 points separating the top two. There we go. So Matthew leading with Cameron in second, 4 points behind. Then Ethan Lossing after his no-show at Bahrain. He's here tonight, thank goodness. But he's currently 12 points behind our current championship leader, Matthew Elia. And in the Constructors' Championship, Renault are leading on 49 points. Red Bull in second, 2 points behind. Racing Point in third, 9 points behind Renault. So, as you'd expect, very early on, still very close championship. Nothing shown to us as of yet of who's at the very, very top of the championship towards the end of the season. Just have to wait and see how that pans out. But we're right on board with Mr. Cameron here, currently second in the championship. Been very solid in the past two races at Australia and Bahrain. Be interesting to see how he goes here at Shanghai. Still a few drivers yet to set a lap time though, from P12 down to 18. All of them yet to set a lap time. And we're steadily running out of time left, and it's a fairly long lap here at Shanghai as well, as Cameron is up by half a second effectively in the first sector. Heading towards turns 7 and 8. Absolutely flat out through 7, then through 8, down to 5th gear, 4th gear in fact at the apex. Then into turns 9 and 10, as Michael mentioned, turn 10 a critical traction zone, heading onto a fairly long straight. Then into turn number 11, he's up by a second now. That sort of pace, he'll be cracking into the top 6. See what he can do in the final sector. Coming out of 13. H gear. DRS open now. 320, 330 kilometers an hour. Hard on the brakes at the 100-meter board, down to second gear, first gear at the apex, and wow, going in between first and second there several times around 14. Then into turn 16, final turn on the racetrack, opens DRS, crossing the line, and he jumps up to P2 with a 1 minute 30.022. So he must have had a wretched final sector on the previous lap. He's only 3/10 behind Honda.
Solid lap. He did get a little indecisive on the gear selection, as you kind of pointed out. But
yeah, he couldn't quite decide to go in first or to go into second gear as Honda invalidates his time. See what Matthew was up to. Currently third. Needs to improve by half a second if he wants to overtake Cameron. See him round turn 9, fourth gear. As Passassin jumps up to the top of the table, another reserve driver with a 29.474. As Matthew was down in the first sector. He'll be looking to improve here though. Round 13. Then an incredibly long wait to the heavy braking zone of 14. See here, he'll go hard on the brakes right at the beginning of the curve. First gear, didn't take too much of the curve. I don't think he actually took any of it there. Could gain just a little bit of time if he clobbers over that curve, just minimise a bit more distance. Crossing the line, he does improve by a bit under a tenth of a second. It's not enough to claim P3 for now. Off the circuit, who's that? That's a McLaren. Is that Rob? I believe it is. No, it's Bojan who was off the racetrack.
Just getting out of the way.
Now he has to be very, very careful. Oh, is he in low fuel mode? Yes, solid red fuel light. Means he must be in low fuel mode. Got a long, long way to drive to get back into the pits. And here, Taylor Hodge on a flyer. 32.5 he has to be. A few drivers improving. Stuart Leslie now in 7th place with a 31.2. I'm quite surprised of how big the field spread is at the moment. From P7, now P8, Stuart Leslie, he is 1.2 seconds behind Cameron, which is quite a substantial amount of time, I must say.
Yeah, we usually see it a little bit closer, as Nicholas Salvador goes P7 on a set of mediums.
31 flat.
But he might make it work. He might stay in the top 10. I think it'll be the back half of the top 10, but that might just be enough, and he's might be able to start on that alternate strategy.
Well, he had an incredibly superb performance at Bahrain. He'll be hoping to carry that sort of momentum here at Shanghai, and he's definitely demonstrating that. To do that sort of a time on the medium compound. So he's got a lot of confidence in himself at the moment. Sets that sort of lap time. But the Heretic is actually diving into the pits, so he's pulled out of his lap. And he's going to wait in the pit lane and get ready for his final run. I believe Stewart will be doing the same thing. Salvanik will be doing the same thing as well. Still, we have 5 drivers yet to set a lap time. J Dunk, Ethan Lossing yet to set a lap time. Same with Bill Vosti, Rob Hadley, and Sebastian Flores. The latter two on flying laps. Sebastian is heading towards turn number 14. Then turn 15 comes immediately after this little kink. That's a corner to the official track map. It's ridiculous, but that's what it is. So, round 16, heading towards a line, and that's a very respectable lap time there. 30.8 from Seb. What about Rob? What is he up to? Heading around turn 14, then 15. Got a little bit of traffic in front. He doesn't have to worry though. 29, 30, 31. It's a 32-1. jumps up to 13th.
Mm, 3 minutes left, and Ethan still not getting a lap in, so the pressure's on him now.
Absolutely.
Do a lap.
He's waited right till the end of the session to do this. I'm not sure if he's had any other previous attempts. I'll just have a quick squiz of Race Director, just briefly. So look. He has no lap count as of yet. Typically when you do a lap, even if you invalidate, it still registers in the Race Director. So it's a bit interesting to see he's waited this long right at the end to do his lap. McLaren getting out of the way. Bojan. So with now 2 minutes left in the session, flying laps, I believe Ethan Lossing will be the first of these drivers. See what he can do. Rounding 14 and 15, needs a good run out of 16, which he gets. Maximise the top speed down the pit straight. See what he can do. First challenge he has to tackle, turns 1 and 2. Down to 5th gear, hugs the inside and he runs out wide for turn 2. Hits the apex nicely, then turn 3, a very awkward transition there. We'll often see drivers lock up just a little bit. Out to turn 4, it's a nice run. Car wasn't sliding or anything like that, no wheel spin. Then into turn number 6, 2nd gear, short shifts to 3rd on the exit. Oh, a bit scrappy on the exit. Hopefully that won't cost him too much time. Turn 7, flat out, 7th gear. And turn number 8, go down to 5th, stay in 5th, then use 4th gear at turn 9. And again, 4th gear at turn 10. Not running too wide on the exit. Now, into turns 11 and 12, then turn number 13. This corner can be a bit tricky in the dry. You can't ux too much of the car. You can't put in too much steering input and too much throttle input at the same time. The car doesn't like that. And sometimes you can find yourself spinning out. Into the hairpin of turn number 14, hard on the brakes. Doesn't use too much of the curve on the inside. Very clean run. To the final turn, turn 16, 5th gear, 6th gear, up and towards the line. It's a 29.5. That's a brilliant lap time.
Just short of a pole position time. Drake is invalidated. Honda is still out there on a lap. Cam as well. Dion not on a competitive lap. Fred's not on a competitive lap. Matt's on a competitive lap.
Fortunately, they're all fairly close together as well. What about Mr. Stuart Leslie? Where is he? He's at the back end of the racetrack. He's got a Ferrari in front. It must be Honda then, in front of him. I just noticed one of the Ferraris is coming towards the line. It's Christopher. Does he jump up? No. He stays in 14th place. We'll see what Mr. Stuart Leslie can do. Just a moment. As Passassin retires from the session, what can Andrew do? Can he steal pole position away from Drake Dempsey? He rounds the final corner, up and towards the line, and he does. He improves by a massive half a second. Ha ha! 29.173. That is an awesome lap time. And Macchiolia, I just noticed then, jumped up to 6th place.
It was a big improvement, but only really good enough for one spot. Stu also improved, but again, similar to Matt, only good for one spot.
There we go, qualifying done and dusted. It's Andrew Honda on pole position with Drake Dempsey alongside, so the reserves lock out the front row. So the first of the full-time drivers is this man, Ethan Lossing. A very good lap time right at the end of the session. The pressure was on to put a decent time down, and he definitely delivered. He's got Cameron alongside him in P4. Dion in 5th with Matthew Elliott, our championship leader, in 6th place. Very close between P5 and 6 in the end there. Brian Beal, a solid qualifying from him in P7. Justin Lepraude in P8. Sebastian Flores in 9th. And Nicolas Salvador rounding out the top 10. On the medium tyre as well. So it's not a great advantage that he has. He's inside the top 10 just, and he's starting on the medium compound. So...
yeah, I mean, one more spot and he would have had that free choice anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And
he is going to have to start on
rubber as well.
Right. He'll be on scrubs. I still think that's a good strategy. He is not in a good position at the start. Kind of might be in the hornet's nest, so to speak, going into turn 1, but if he makes it out clean, it could set him up. Ooh, we got some clouds.
Yeah, I noticed that Stuart said it was cloudy.
Cloudy all race. And our earlier race, it was supposed to be cloudy all race, and it ended up raining about halfway through.
Exactly.
So that might, if there is any trend to follow, that might be one.
When the game says cloudy or race, there's still a slight chance that it might start spitting. It may not go to intermediate conditions, but it might start spitting, and that is the worst track conditions that I believe you can drive in. I hate those conditions where it's not wet enough for the inter, but it's not dry enough so then the slick tire works effectively. So you're in this constant panic mode where you're trying to find grip and the car's sliding all over the place, and it's absolutely horrible. Hopefully the drivers won't have to go through that, otherwise they will not have a very good time. Drivers set off on their formation lap. We'll take a look at what the drivers outside the top 10 have decided to do. Oh, and yeah, quite an obvious trend here. Stuart Leslie in P11, same with Jay Dunk in P12. They have decided to start on the hard tyre, and they're the only ones to do so. RP Mazing has decided to go onto the medium, same with Christopher, same with Rob Hadley, same with Taylor. Same with Bojan and Bill Vosti at the back of the field. All of them are electing to start on the medium tyre. What's your opinion on Stewart and Dunk selecting hard straight away?
Well, I will tell you that with the way the weather works, somebody who started on the hards outside the top 10 did win the race. So I do want to knock the strategy, but if we get that same instance that we did in the 7 o'clock race, I mean, it won the race, so you really can't dispute it. But early safety car pretty much ruins your strategy because you got your hands tied at that point.
Yeah,
You've used your set that are going to take you a really long way in the race, and I mean, all you can really do from there is put on the mediums, and then you're going to have to do another stop for probably another set of mediums. So yeah, risky call, for sure.
And they can't afford to get damage either. They really can't afford to get damage. Otherwise, they will completely ruin their race. As you said, they've currently got the tyre that should get you to the end of the race. They will go for a very, very long time. If they get... Oh, and spinning McLaren in the background. That's Rob Hadley. He's decided to take a little bit of a trip on the infield, exploring the grass there. There we go, a bit of drama on the formation lap. But yeah, if they get damaged, then they have to change off the tyres. They can't just get a wing replacement, they have to get off the tyre. Put on a set of mediums and yeah, probably do a 2-stop. So those guys are taking a big, big risk, but we'll see if it pays off for them. As we'll be waiting on Rob Hadley. He'll be the last driver to line up into position after he had his little spinning trip on the back straightaway. It's a very different accent. On a straight as well. A little bit embarrassing, but it happens to the best of us, so. But here we go, we're all lined up, we're all ready to go. Just be waiting for the game to save. There we go. We have 5 red lights, and it's lights out, and away we go. That was very, very fast. Honda gets away well. He will lead most likely into turn 1. Passassin slots in behind. What about the midfield? Everyone just trying. Oh, a bit wide. Oh, and spinning off. That's Leprod. He's off the racetrack completely. We'll go back and look at him in just a moment. Oh, and off the racetrack is one of the Mercedes taking to the grass. That's RP amazing. But everyone else gets through relatively okay. For the most part, again, drivers just trying to find a little bit of racetrack to race on. J-Dunk has lost several positions from the start. Down the inside, he can't make that stick. Taylor hangs on for now. But my word. Oh, as Billy goes down the inside of J-Dunk. So J-Dunk, those hard tyres, not up to temperature. He's just getting swallowed by the field at the moment. Tell you what, we'll go just briefly up here. Keep an eye on these guys. Oh, and bumped off the racetrack there. I think that was Christopher bumping off J-Dunk at turn 10. In the background there. Oh my word. Some biffing and barging, but that's okay. No massive incident except for Justin.
I think Assassin might be looking for a move on the inside of Honda. He's gonna look.
He shows the nose.
On the inside.
Honda gives him space. They might be side by side here. Not quite. Assassin slots back in behind the Ferrari of Andrew Honda. They cross the start-finish line to begin lap 2 of 28. We've got a clear battle for the lead and a clear battle for second place as Cameron has overtaken Ethan Lossing there. As oh dear, we have a lap glitch as we typically do on the second lap, but that's okay. But Cameron a good start. He's ahead of his rival Ethan. Dion in 6th place.
Bill's in the pit. Ooh, he's got a wing change in there.
Oh dear.
He's gonna put on the hards.
That's very unfortunate to hear. You can see the dark blue dot in the pit lane. He's now a long, long way behind the pack. He'll be praying for a safety car at some stage. Bring him back into the fight. But Salvanik, a good start. From 10th place, he's in 7th right now. Needs to keep up this momentum. Oh, running wide. Oh. How did he catch that? Oh, when the car goes, it's very difficult to recover, but he managed just to recover. Oh, runs wide, and there goes Matthew Elliott. Oh, wait. That was a lag spike.
That was a big lag spike.
Oh, so you saw that as well?
Yeah, a little teleportation going on.
Oh, dear. That was very scary, I must say. I thought Salvanik just ran wide, and then boom, he was suddenly back in front of Matthew again. Down the inside goes Salvanik. Oh, and he overshoots it.
Way overcooks it.
Luckily for Nicholas, he hasn't lost a position to Matthew. Oh dear. Yeah, that's going to be interesting to keep an eye on with Salvanik. And you see that trainer cars in the background going around the final corner. Currently being led by Chris Murphy. You got Stuart Leslie in behind, Rob Hadley, Jay Dunk. Got Taylor Hodge on the back of the train, and just behind him is Justin Laporte after his incident on lap 1. Fortunately for him, he doesn't have any damage on the car, but he does find himself a long way outside the top 10. He just needs to keep his head down, try and make these soft tyres work. How long are those soft tyres better than the medium tyres, do you reckon? When do these soft tyres plateau in terms of pace?
I'd say maybe about 3 or 4 laps.
Okay.
Depending on what kind of tire conservation you do. I'm not very kind on my tires, so it's probably the shorter end of that for me personally, but
yeah.
Yeah, they feel good for a very small amount of time, and then they feel...
Oh, here we go. Big send here. Justin, he's now side by side with Rob. A lot of respect here. Give each other plenty of space. Good driving, good racing. As I believe Preds has finally gotten past Salvanik? No. Sorry. Other way round, wasn't it? It was... Oh! Ooh. Teleportation going on there. But no, Salvanik made a move on Preds. He's now into P6.
Justin made it around Rob Hadley, so looking to charge his way back up. I think we didn't really catch what happened at the beginning with him, but they may have been 3 wide going into turn 1, and I think he was just a victim of a little coming together there. But Still got some time to make it up. I mean, long race.
Absolutely.
It's like he's got the pace.
At the moment, everyone appears to be behaving themselves. The gaps towards the front of the field are quite spread out, I must say. Honda leading by 1.7 seconds over Drake Dempsey. And in third place, Cameron, he's 1.4 seconds behind Dempsey. So, yeah, no real battles going on at the front of the field. But here in the midfield, there's some battles for sure going on. As Sebi is all over the back of Matthew now. Heading towards
Matt
turn
tried
11.
to move down the inside of Bryant Beal at turn 9. There was a little bit of contact. It kind of checked him up quite a bit.
But here comes Matthew. He might be close enough to attack here. Very, very long straightaway, heading towards 14. He's gaining and gaining and gaining. Heading towards the 100-meter board. This is going to be a big send here from Matthew. It is. They give each other space though, and Pred stays in front for now. I reckon Matthew, he could have gone a little bit deeper there on the brakes. And Ethan's in.
Ooh, so I think this is a planned stop, but this is a very, very extreme undercut here. Onto the hards.
There he goes. There we go. He is in clear air, which you'll like very much. It'll give him the right to put the hammer down and not have to worry about traffic in front for a certain period of time, and then he'll catch up to the likes of Bojan and Christopher and Rob. Might hold them up a little bit. See, we've got a battle going on for 11th place. Taylor's trying to hold on. He's got Stuart Leslie all over the back of him, who in turn has got just... Oh, Preds!
I mean, he's lagging everywhere.
So that was a massive lag spike. My word, he was on the gravel, and then he teleported back onto the straightaway, back into 6th place. Okay, that was very, very strange. But he's still hanging on to P6. He's got...
I think Matt's going to have a good go here.
Yeah, he's got him easy.
Yeah, he's set up,
open.
Got a good run out of 13, and this is just setting this move up to be real easy.
Very straightforward. Overtake. Passassin is in. Same with Cameron. Fortunately for Renault, it's not a double stack. Dion electing to stay out. Again, these guys are just countering what Ethan Lossing is up to. Away they go. Whereabouts do they pop out? Keep an eye on the pink dot behind the McLaren. Cameron and Ethan were having a scrap, and Ethan comes out in front. The undercut has worked. Oh, Cameron! Oh, dearie me. Very sideways there. Now Ethan has to get past Bojan, and he does so. Now Cameron has to do the same thing on cold rubber. He's going to find it difficult. Bojan defends. Cameron goes around the long way. Bojan doesn't fight. So this is a battle for effective P3 going on right here. And Ethan with the undercut, he's made it work. Now we got... Oh, end play. I saw that piece of debris just come off there. Sector 3, yellow flags. Must have just been a slow car. Let's see here, this massive train.
I'm
pretty certain I saw some sort of debris fly off a car coming through 13. Honda's in the pits. Same with Dion. Salvanic follows.
Salvanic's in.
Odd call. He's not electing to stay out. That means Jay Dunk is now leading this race.
That's where the end plate came from.
Oh, it was.
From Salvanic.
Oh, this is going to be close between RP Amazing and Honda. Oh, around the outside. Can the Mercedes make it stick? No, he can't. Honda stays in third. So that That was the end play that fell off. It was Salvanix.
Ooh, Drake tried to move around the outside of Chris Murphy. Didn't really work out.
Now Assassin, he's right in behind this Mercedes. Chris Murphy, he needs to get by to resume his battle with Andrew. He had to find a way past though. Oh, this is going to be interesting side by side. RP's going to go defensive into 9. Assassin around the long way, can't make it stick. Can he get a switchback though? Into turn 10, he's right in behind the Mercedes. But I don't think he should overtake him here. This might cost him. Because that will mean RP Mazing will get DRS on the long back straightaway and he'll just power back past, I would think.
Yeah, I think unless he gets a really good run off of this corner, Drake.
Oh.
Ooh, Drake almost loses it.
I saw that twitch. That was a big twitch.
I think he's got a good enough run to where he's safe.
Let's have a look. He's gaining and gaining and gaining and gaining and gaining. And you're right, Michael. Not quite close enough. Oh, but those guys behind are very, very close to the back of Chris Murphy. I just flicked backwards to see what Stuart Leslie was up to, and I swear to Jesus Christ, he was about a paper's width away from crashing into the back of that Mercedes. Boy, that was very, very, very close. Oh, you would have a heart attack if you saw that in your wing mirrors and cockpit view.
Dion gets around Bojan pretty easily going into turn 1, so Dion looking really solid tonight. He's not too far off the lead pack, so to say, in Ethan and Cam.
Well, his performances have shown how strong that Renault team is in this championship. They're currently leading the constructors, not by much, but they're still in the lead. So him and Cameron are going to be a formidable team throughout this season. Dion just proving again he's a very strong
Ethan
driver.
gets into the back of Rob Hadley.
End play?
I don't believe he got any damage from it.
But that means he's now under assault from Cameron. Oh, and off the circuit goes the Williams.
Stu is off big time, and it
spin.
always spins.
Only a little bit of contact, but it was enough. Now, Stewart has to be very careful here. If he drives any more backwards, he'll probably get disqualified from the session. Gets the car going. Here comes Brian Beale and his teammate Sebastian Flores. They get past with ease. But just a little bit of contact. It was nothing massively intentional there. And now Stewart a long way down. 16th place and on the whole old tyres as well. Old hard tyres. He's going to have a hard time. But now, Ethan Lossing and Cameron.
Cam's gotten around Ethan.
So that little bit of contact between Ethan and Rob has cost Ethan effective third place. I noticed that gap. They were only 0.3 of a second between them heading towards the long back straight. So Cameron probably just easily powered past. Very straightforward. And we'll just have to wait for the intervals to come back as Preds has rejoined the session. That tends to... as Ethan has a moment there at the exit of turn 10. That's cost him even more time.
Yeah, it looks like Ethan's kind of struggling tonight compared to Cam. We saw Australia. Ethan kind of had Cameron's number. We didn't see Ethan at Bahrain, and now it looks like Cam's a little bit more comfortable tonight. Obviously, we're going to have to follow the battle between these two all year. I think they're the two favorites looking for the championship, but yeah, Cameron's looking to pull away.
And here comes Dion overtaking Christopher down the inside at 14, so he's now into 9th place. Now, Ethan's got a Mercedes stuck between him and his main target. He has to try and find a way past Chris Murphy as soon as possible. Meanwhile, the gap between Honda and Assassin has increased to 2.5 seconds, so Drake has got a lot of work to do to try and close the gap between him and Honda. try and fight for the win. Ethan steadily gaining on the Mercedes. Through here, he'll have a hard time overtaking him. Oh, and again, that car does not look happy. Sliding left and right. You mentioned during qualifying that in order to be quick around here, you need a car that's very stable on the exits. It needs to be good in critical traction zones, and we've seen on several occasions with Ethan as one of the AlphaTauris was off the racetrack.
It's Justin. Ooh, and that's damage for him as well. He's gonna have to crawl his way back. That's a good bit of damage to the front wing.
Now Cameron's overtaking Ethan's teammate, new teammate Taylor. He's now into 4th place. There's a fair bit of distance between him and Passassin, so doesn't need to worry too much about traffic. Finally, Ethan has gotten past RP Amazing as Heretic is in the pits.
Penalty for him.
Yeah, it's running wide of the final corner, and it's cost him 3 seconds for multiple warnings. There will be something that he'll have to deal with at the end of the race. But the gap between Ethan and Cameron now 2.5 seconds, and that's a lot of work to try and close that gap. Looking at the rest of the field, Matthew Elliott currently in 9th. The gap between him and his main rival in this race, Dion, 2.5 seconds. Got Christopher on the back of him as Salvanik. Oh dear. Oh. Salvanik finds a way past, maybe. Sort of just lagged through Christopher there. He's steadily gaining on our championship leader. And he'll be planning to battle Matthew throughout the rest of this race. And we haven't even hit the halfway mark yet. And the 11 laps into a 28 lap race, there's still a lot of stuff to go down. Sebastian Flores gaining on Bojan Ivanovic, heading towards turns number 11 and 12. And through 13, Sebi will be planning to get by Bojan as soon as possible. Got a decent run. That gap's pretty big though. But Sebi, he's spending his resources, he's going to use DRS, he's gaining rapidly on the McLaren. Bojan defends needlessly and overshoots the hairpin, making him incredibly vulnerable. And Sebi gets past.
Seb sneaks by. Good little move. Kept it ooh, as he almost runs a little bit wide.
Someone's going in. Oh, whoa, what's happened to Bryant Beale?
Ooh, he's lost it at the final corner.
Interesting. But now Honda has taken the lead away from Dunk. Dunk still on those old hard tyres, yet to make a pit stop. He's now got Drake Dempsey on the back of him. Preds has left the session again. Hopefully he'll be able to rejoin. But I believe Passassin should be able to get past the Haas here. He's got a run, got a good run, and that's a spinner, and that's Matthew Elliott, the championship leader, and he's in the tyre barrier. He's got the car backing up. Probably get it a bit on the road if he wanted to. He's wasting a lot of time here.
I think he's kept the wing on it though. That's out of turn 10, so one of the corners I mentioned.
Yeah,
get a little. It doesn't take much. You get a little too eager, and it just kind of goes around on you. But when Passassin went off big time, he was in the grass at turn 1.
He's trying to find a way past Dunk. He's having a bit of a hard time with it, but that has cost Matthew dearly. Down in 17th place. Those hard tyres will be a bit shot as well. That is a massive blow to his championship. Oh dear.
He goes around a little half spin right there.
Go back to this, shall we? Dunk trying to hold off Passassin. He'd be praying for a safety car. If he gets one, that'll help him out massively. Round turn number 13. Passassin, is he close enough? Dunk weaves, trying to break the toe. Passassin venting his frustration on the wheel, weaving left and right very rapidly there. Probably just yelling at the Haas driver, get out of my way. On a different strategy, move.
I've never seen somebody voice their frustration by a little weave. I don't know if Dunk would have saw that in the mirrors, but that was
and there it is again, he is
see.
not happy. He wants to get by Dunk now, through turn 1, into turn 2, he might send it here. Oh, he can't though. He's stuck right behind the Haas, with absolutely nowhere to go. Round turn 4. He's got an opportunity here at 6 and he's going to take it. He's using overtake. Dunk defends. He doesn't defend enough though, and down the inside goes Drake Dempsey. They give each other space, but Dunk around the outside gets better traction and he holds P2, and Passassin weaving more and more, venting his frustration. He cannot get past this Haas. Into turn 9. Still can't get by. He's got an opportunity at turn 11. I don't think he should take it though. Runs wide. That will be a warning. Into turn 11. Then turn 12. He needs a good exit out of 13. Dunk gets a pretty good exit himself.
I think he might have it here. I think the frustrations might finally end.
Dunk defends. Here we go. Into turn 14. It's a late move around the outside. Can he make this stick? Dunk holds the inside. They give each other space. Passassin should get better traction on the exit, but he's still behind. Round the final corner. Opens DRS again. He has to look the long way. Dunk and that Haas have got some serious straight line speed. Into turn 1. He's on the marbles. There's the Alfa Romeo. They almost make contact. Into turn 2. Then turn 3. Passassin should have the inside. And again for turn 4. And there's a spinning wheel.
We gotta.
I think Passassin has finally got it. Oh dear.
Sebi's gone around at the hairpin.
Similar to what he did in qualifying. Oh dear. And he gets back on. Fortunately, there's a bit of open road for him to just gather himself, but he's now outside the top 10 as Rob Hadley has just made his pit stop onto the hard tyres, and he's in 12th place. And those are fairly fresh hard tyres as well, so he'd be planning to try and make up a bit of time and claw himself back into the top 10. But what a scrap we had for second place there. And Dunk he hasn't fallen away. I don't think he's within 1 second though of Passassin, so I think his battle for P2 is done and dusted. But it just shows that Dunk knew exactly where to place the car to try and defend for position. It's actually a pretty good display of defensive driving there from Dunk, to have significantly older tyres and put up that much of a fight. Oh, it was a good effort.
It seemed like that battle was never going to end, really. As Dunk picks up a penalty. Dunk is very, very good at placing his car and making it very difficult on you when he wants to, so obviously he felt he wanted to make it tricky on Passassin, which he has every right to. I think he's on a strategy where he's going to try to go to the softs at the end.
Okay.
I think that's going to be similar to what Stu may be trying to do. Bill might be forced to do that as well after pitting on lap 1, I think it was, maybe lap 2.
No, a nice little scrap there. That was very entertaining to watch, must say. But it appears that the rest of the field is fairly well spread out right now. Closest battle we've got is probably the one between Stuart Leslie and Taylor Hodge for 9th place. Yeah, and well, we do have one between Preds and Matthew earlier, but that's all the way down in 15th. But these two had such a solid qualifying performance. I think they were actually P6 and P7, if I remember. Now down in 15th and 16th.
Yeah,
look at
just
that,
both
both
of them.
9 down each.
Yeah, having separate incidents that have put them on the back foot. Still 12 laps to go, I think. They still got a shot at a couple of points. It's always tough when you're at the back, though.
Absolutely. As Dunk has finally pulled the pin, electing to pit. Solid
I don't even know if he could do the softs here.
He might just be planning to go onto the mediums now. See what happens. Yep, medium tyres.
Mediums.
And away he goes, and he's in 7th place. And look at the field. Like, P6 is the yellow dot going through turn 4 right now. That's Dion. P8 has just crossed the start-finish line. Stuart Ledley. That is massive.
There is a huge gap between the midfield. We usually see the big gap towards the front, and then very, very tight in the midfield.
Close,
so
yeah. But no,
uncharacteristic.
Very. That is unbelievably massive. And with that pit stop, Dunk finds himself in 7th place on fresh mediums. 7.2 seconds. He could probably make that up and give Dion a bit of a headache towards the end of the race. So, that is very surprising. And purple to the second sector as well. So, those medium tyres doing him a world of good right now. Let's have a look, see. It seems like Matthew Elliott is on the back of Christopher now. We have a battle for 14th rather. Now Christopher, if J Dunk has shown us anything, it is that it is possible to defend on this racetrack, so long as you know where to put the car, and
Ooh.
never mind. Oh dear. That's not where you're supposed to put the car, Christopher, I must say. That he has put it... Oh, and Matthew almost makes a mistake as well. He's put it on the grass, and he's lost several positions, now down in 17th. But, yeah, oh dear. Now, Matthew's next target will be Sebastian Flores, and that's a fair margin he has to try and close up. Three-way fight going on now. Bill Vosti looking down the inside of 1. Taylor gives him room, but... Chris almost goes into the back of Bill there. My word, that was close. Now Bill...
Go off track to avoid that.
Applying pressure, but he's got those old, hard tyres. Gonna have a hard time getting past. And now, with that little mistake, I think that's brought Rob Hadley into this fight. Same with Sebi, if he can gain a little bit more time. But Bill, it's about being patient. It's about nailing this second sector and the start of the third. Just gain enough time so then you can try and power past on the back straight. At the moment he's not quite close enough. He needs to be within about half a second, I reckon, to try and overtake into 13. Sector 1 yellow flags. That's just a slow Ferrari there. Must have been Christopher. He just pit for medium tyres, so he was just getting out of the way. 7.5 tenths. Bill is not going to be close enough. J Dunk setting fastest lap with the 34 dead. Bill hard on the brakes, locks up a little bit. At the moment Taylor hanging on. That gap between Bill... Oh, Bill's
Bill
in.
Comes in.
So he's pulled the pin. He can't make it. So he's probably going to go onto medium tyres. Would he?
I don't know. I'd say the mediums. Yep.
There they are. Yellow sidewall, and away he goes. But he's in clear air. As soon as Bojan gets past. He's down in 16th, a long way behind. The battle for 10th is definitely on. Chris Murphy and Rob Hadley behind them. Sebastian Flores. Three-way fight for the final point scoring place. None of them have penalties either. So it's a proper scrap for 10th. Rest of the top 10 fairly spread out. No noteworthy battles as such, though Jay Dunk is now only 3.2 seconds behind Dion in 6th place. So that battle is probably going to materialize soon. As, Christopher has... and spin! Rob has spun. He's chucked it into neutral. But he's spun out. He's on the infield. There goes Brian Beale. And he has to be careful. Those tyres will have a whole heap of muck on them. If he puts too much throttle down too quickly, he might spin out again. But fortunately, he hasn't. But that battle's now over. Sebi's got a lot of work to do now to try and catch up to RP Amazing. But RP's now catching Taylor once again. And now he's within a second of the racing point. So the battle for 9th place isn't over just yet. Sector 1 and 2 yellow flags. Oh, that's the AI car. Christopher.
I think he's just going to get out of the way. Oh, that cut it kind of close.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that the game still does that with the AI cars who retire in the pits. But anyway, fortunately it hasn't impeded anyone. So, RP Amazing losing time in the second sector. He's outside of a second, he needs to be within a second. Coming to the DRS detection zone at turn 12.
Oh, and Bill goes way deep into turn 6.
Oh, we have a battle on 15th. There we go. Bill will apply a ton of pressure. But again, patience probably needs to be shown here. He's got a DRS straight coming up, and there's a spinner, and it's Passassin! Passassin has spun it, and he's crashed into the wall. He has spun at the exit of 4.
Wing is gone.
Here comes Salvanic. But what has happened to Drake Dempsey? I think he was by his lonesome. I didn't see any dots nearby. Oh dear. What a dreadful set of circumstances for the reserve driver. He was set for a podium finish. But a crucial error has cost him. And he's going to plummet down the leaderboard as well. Oh dear. That means Cameron now into 2nd place overall. A humongous margin over Ethan Lossing. Look at that. 7.2 seconds. Salvanic in 4th place, starting from 10th. Looking like he's going to claim the final podium spot once the reserve drivers are taken out. Dion in 4th place. Now Salvanic, he's got 3 seconds? Yes, he's got 3. If he gets one more penalty, that battle for 4th place overall might get really interesting. Nicholas is 6.1 seconds. And Dion doesn't have any penalties next to his name. But he does have to worry about Jay Dunk. It was catching him at a rate of knots. Oh dear. Passassin going in. Hamilton said a little bit.
I wonder if Stu forgot that he's got a pit. He's still out there, 20 laps on those hards. And just as I say that, he comes in. So it's going to be softs for him, definitely.
There's a safety car at any stage. This might get interesting with Stewart on the softs, but same with Passassin as well. But from the looks of things, we might get that safety car.
When Stu had damage.
Oh, interesting.
He went for a wing change.
Look at that, he's now down in 16th place. Long way down the order. But we got a battle on for what is now 7th, which will actually be 5th place once the reserves are taken out, and that's a McLaren.
Rob had another incident.
And he's got a missing wing as well. This will cost him very dearly. But RP Amazing and Taylor Hodge, Chris Murphy, these two drivers, brand new full-time drivers for this tier, are battling once the reserves are taken out for 5th and 6th place. Pretty solid start as Rob has spun out at turn 9, losing him more time in position. But Chris Murphy now into 7th place overall. 28.5 seconds behind J Dunk. That is a massive gap. But that battle is not over. Taylor sticking with the Mercedes. He does have a 3-second penalty though, Taylor. It will cost him. And Sebastian Flores, only 2.9 seconds behind, might gain the place if he can get close enough. Sasson has overtaken Preds for 11th place. Now Taylor, through these high-speed S's, he can't afford to lose too much time here. If he does, his battle with Chris Murphy is basically over.
Ooh, I think Chris Murphy went a little too deep. Turn 8.
Turn 10. And now into turn 11. The gap is half a second. He's close enough that he might be able to attack here. He needs a good run through 12 and 13 though. I reckon he just might have it. He's using overtake all the way around the corner. Gap is 7/10. No, he won't be close enough. But RP Amazing, he is dumping everything. Chris is trying to pull away. Gap is almost a second between the two as they head through the DRS zone. You can see there, Chris has absolutely dumped everything. Hard on the brakes, into the hairpin. Man, Taylor pulled it up. Oh, it's spin! He's off and crashes! Oh no! And he's done that completely by himself. And did he just reset the circuit then, or?
Yeah, I think it just perfectly spun itself back straight as he goes full on Hamilton into the pit, the pit entry.
Fittingly, he's in the Mercedes as well, but into the pits. Damaged car. But that battle for 5th place now over for Chris Murphy. An unfortunate error. I don't believe if there was any contact. If there was, it was just a lag spike. I think there was some distance between him and Taylor, but that is so incredibly unfortunate.
I think it's just a little eagerness on the throttle. Again, that's another one of the corners I did kind of highlight. So, yeah, I love when I'm... It's always nice when you say things and they actually are true. It makes me feel happy that I'm not just talking a load of crap.
Yeah, I know exactly that feeling. But no, you highlighted it well. Critical traction zones are very important around here, and turn 14 is definitely one of them. We saw it in qualifying with Sebastian, how easy it is to spin out there, and it's a very unfortunate accident for Chris, but yeah, just his race is done, down in 16th place. J Dunk applying pressure to Dion, trying to get by for that 5th place. Of course, he'll be taken out in the official results, as he is a reserve driver. He won't be scoring points, so Dion doesn't have to worry about Mr. Dunk at all. He can just let him by with ease, just carry on his merry way. Assassin getting past Taylor. He's now into 7th place. He's got a lot of clear air, so for Taylor, doesn't have to worry about Assassin too much. Just let him go, let him do his own thing. Unfortunately for Taylor, Sebi has closed in to 1.5 seconds. Sebi is yet to get a penalty, so Taylor might be losing a position or two, in fact, because Matthew Elliott, he's right behind Sebi. Gap of 1.1 seconds. So Matthew, if he can get past both Sebi and Taylor, he might be on for a 5th place finish, which is quite a recovery considering what happened earlier. So, and Matthew is gaining rapidly. Look at that. Gap is now 0.6 of a second heading into the braking zone. Matthew has got some serious pace now as Drake is gathering a few penalties next to his name, pushing hard. Here comes Matthew. He is gaining. 0.3 now separate the Williams and the Red Bull heading into turn 1. And around to turn 2. Not quite close enough to make any sort of overtake through here. Sebi gets a pretty decent run through the snail section. Opens up a little bit of a gap over Matthew. Hard on the brakes. Turn 6. See there, Sebi gets a slightly better exit. Through the high-speed S's. Matthew gains. Gap is now 0.5 second between the two. As, Ooh,
and Dion and Dunk battling for position. A little bit of contact was made.
Don't really need to do that. Don't need to scrap too hard. Dunk, not a full-time driver. He will be taken out of the official results by the stewards post-race. Just quickly go back to this. Sebi is now within a second of Taylor. Matthew's still applying pressure though. Hard on the brakes at the hairpin. They all bunch up. And they've got 2 laps to settle this battle. Sebi now has DRS. He'll be gaining on Taylor. Trying to apply pressure to the debutant. Rob Hadley, a 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. Applying a lot of pressure is Matthew. Oh, and Sebi has a half moment there. Car looked a bit unstable and looked a bit gap.
Chance.
Will it be a big send? No, it won't, as Honda has begun the final lap of the race. These guys are still on the second last lap and they've only just passed the first sector. That's how spread out the field is right now. It's actually ridiculous. Around turn 8, then turns 9 and 10. As Michael mentioned, you need a good run out of 10. Both drivers get that. And I think Heretic has actually pulled away a little bit. Gap of 1.2 seconds over Sebi. Sebi, is he within a second of the DRS detection point? He might be. He might. I saw 1 second exactly when he passed through turn 12. Does he have DRS?
And Matt's going to get a good run.
No, he doesn't. Sebi is going to be completely defenseless here. DRS open for the Red Bull. Sitting in the slipstream, heading towards the heavy braking zone. And he doesn't go for it. Interesting.
He thought about it.
And that was a very weird move that Matthew made. And it's cost him a bucket load of time. He moved all the way over to the right-hand side. There was no real need to do that. And look at him, he's now 1.2 seconds behind Sebi. Anywho, we'll go back up to the leader, because he's going to be rounding the final corner now. It's a performance that we've seen in the previous season. A dominant display from Andrew Honda, who wins the Chinese Grand Prix. But for the full-time drivers, it will be Cameron taking his first win of the season, I'm pretty sure, here at Shanghai. Ethan Lossing, with his no-show at Bahrain, will end up finishing second as there's a car off the racetrack. That is Possession off the racetrack. It is. He's completely spun off and he's stopped. at the edge of the gravel trap. Not sure what's happened to him. Salvanik will finish 4th, with Dion in 5th place because of post-race penalties. J Dunk in 6th. He put on an entertaining display earlier on. It will also mean that Nicholas will be finishing 3rd with the adjusted standings.
Matt might have another go.
Here we go. This is 4th position. Into the final corner. He's going to look around the long way. Seti gives him room. He gets the run. And he's got him. Does Subby do a big send at the final corner? He can't do it. So, that will mean Matthew will finish in 7th place. Overall, Sebastian Flores in 8th, and on debut, Taylor Hodge in 9th place. With the adjusted standings, he will finish 7th. Pretty solid debut, I must say.
Stuart sneaks his way up into the top 10.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. With Stuart finishing in 8th, Bill in 9th, Brian Beale rounding out the top 10 in the adjusted standings. Oh, dearie me. What's going on back here? What is going on here? The AI going 3 wide. Very strange.
And Drake's just trying to finish the race, and the AI are...
But no, Passassin and J-Dunk, they put on a fine display earlier. It was very entertaining to watch. Unfortunately for Passassin, he finishes outside the top 10 and proceeds to vent his frustration.
Gives this a little show at the end.
But there we go. Not the most entertaining race in the world, but it definitely had some good moments in there. Some pretty good displays of driving. There we go. Taylor Hodge given driver of the day. He'll be happy with that on his debut for the Transnation eSports America's Sunday Championship, powered by Drink Alchemy. But here are our podium finishes. Quite a typical China. Honda taking victory. Cameron 2nd. Ethan Lossing in 3rd. But of course, with the adjusted standings, it will be Cameron taking the win. Ethan Lossing in 2nd. And Nicolas Salvador in the Mercedes taking 3rd place. There we go. Talked about the top 3. We'll look at the rest of the field. Dion in 5th place. J Dunk in 6th, starting from 12th. Matthew Elliott in 7th place overall, 5th in the adjusted standings. Sebastian Flores in 8th place overall, 6th in the adjusted standings. But there we go. The Heretic, Taylor, starting from 16th place, finishing 9th. That is actually a very solid performance there. And he'll finish 7th in the adjusted standings. Stuart Leslie, 10th place, 8th place with the adjusted. Bill Vosti in 11th. He'll be in 9th place in the adjusted standings, with Brian Beale rounding out the top 10 of the full-time drivers. Passassin claimed fastest lap with a 31.3. Oh, Chris Murphy, he'd be furious about that after his mistake. He'll finish in 14th, Bayan in 15th, Justin Laporte in 16th, Rob Hadley in 17th place. But, dearie me. Some of those guys won't be too happy about their races, but certainly some drivers will be quite pleased with their results. I noticed one of our podium finishers is on the in the party, so we'll start with the podium interviews now. Ethan Lossing, that was a fairly solid driving display from you, finishing 2nd place in the adjusted standings when we take Andrew out. Just take us through your Chinese Grand Prix.
So qualifying, yeah, I didn't settle out for my first 2 runs, so I just had that one run to set something, and I kind of surprised myself with that lap because I wasn't anywhere near that practicing. And then in the race, my pace was about as terrible as I figured it'd be. Like I'm so bad at this track. um,
Can relate.
I'm just happy to end up getting second and come with 18 points and get out of here really. But it was a pretty boring race. I had nothing on camera today at all.
Yeah, you guys towards the front spread out a lot. Were you surprised by that? By how much the field spread?
I mean, not really. I'm not surprised Honda drove away. And then Cameron was like a big gap ahead of me, and then after me it was kind of a big gap back. So I guess this track kind of lends to big gaps anyways. But I guess it wasn't a huge surprise. And probably wasn't a very good race to commentate, I'm sure.
It had its moments here and there. In the mid-pack,
we always make the best of it.
But your qualifying performance, that was pretty damn good, right at the end of the session as well, to set that sort of lap time after setting no previous lap times before that. You must be pretty impressed with that, with your own performance.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, anything in the 29s, I would have been happy with around here, but to get that lap was actually pretty good. But I kind of figured I wasn't going to be able to hang with that in the race.
Mm-hmm. But Michael, anything to add?
Yeah, just real quick. Good race for you. I know you're not super pleased with it from the way you sound, but going to Spain next week, so what are your expectations for there?
Hopefully there can come away with a win, but we'll see. Just anything other than this track is better, really.
Fair enough. But no, a solid performance. From the sounds of things, you're just glad to get Shanghai out of the way. So we'll look forward to seeing your performance at Barcelona next week. But, we'll move on to our race winner, who I noticed has just joined the party. Cameron, that was a fine display from you. I'm sure you'd be very, very happy with your performance. Just take us through your qualifying and your race here at Shanghai.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely pleased with my performance here. Yeah, because I hate this track. I actually hate it with a passion. But I've been kind of force feeding upon myself, practicing because I have so many races in it. Like last weekend, this weekend. I think even next weekend, it's like one of those things where this track it just keeps popping up this time of the calendar. Yeah, this time of the year, it's just the wind's kind of blowing that way. Yeah, I mean, qualifying, I actually hit a PB with I guess it was 29.6. So I was pleased with that performance, even though it's not really. I don't think it's that competitive, but it put me in a decent grid position, behind Ethan, behind Honda, behind Passassin, and so yeah, I had a weird moment, turn one. I apologize to Ethan. I understeered, right into him. I think he came away clean. I think both of us came away clean. So yeah, I hope everything's good there. Yeah, that was just a moment understeer, being completely, bogged down with fuel. Right at the first turn. You never really know how the car's gonna handle, how it's gonna, what's gonna happen. But yeah, that was the only one moment that I really kind of I don't know, just kind of I basically just tried to put that behind myself, and then from there on out, I was just pushing as hard as I can, and had to cleared a bunch of cars, in traffic. There was a couple close incidents, or not incidents, but a couple close calls with Chris, I think. He was on the side of the road, I think, on turn one, and barely squeaked by, at the last second, and didn't really know he was there. And yeah, that was the one really close call I felt that it kind of had my heart in my throat. But yeah, was able to form gaps, keep good pace. I think the best pace I've ever done on this track, at least. So yeah, I can't be too upset about it. I'm happy, come right behind Honda and take a podium position.
Yeah, podium position overall. You take the race win in the full-time drivers list, so that will be your first win of the championship season. So it must be feeling pretty happy that you are able to put the W on the board, show that you are a genuine championship contender. Michael, anything to add?
Just a real quick congratulations. Did a solid job today. Showed you got what it takes to really take a good good fight to Ethan. So yeah, different winner again this week. We've had a different winner every week, and maybe we'll see another different one for this season at Spain.
That's Did Nicholas end up joining us, by the way, or not?
I don't think we did see him join.
Okay then. Well, I'll probably wrap out our interviews then. Congratulations, Cameron. A fine drive from you. Probably a bit of a boring one, as Ethan mentioned. His one was pretty boring, so I imagine yours was pretty boring and straightforward as well. But congratulations on taking your first victory in the season. Michael, not exactly the most entertaining race we've watched, but it wasn't bad. I've definitely seen worse, that's for sure. But no, I think from the sounds of things, as a collective, a lot of these guys are glad to just get it out of the way and move on. But I'm sure you're looking forward to tomorrow, as this is one of your favourite racetracks for some reason. I can't stand this place, but somehow you like it.
It's because I'm on the controller.
Yeah,
that's
bro.
what it is.
Pad OP, bro. You're quick. You're very, very quick around here. So I'll be looking forward to seeing your performance tomorrow. No pressure. No pressure at all.
Trust me, plenty of people put the pressure on me.
But no, it wasn't bad here at Shanghai. It definitely had its moments for sure. But next week we go to boring Barcelona. Well, at least it's boring Barcelona in real life. In the virtual world, I have seen some pretty okay races around Spain. So I'm optimistic for next week, and I'm sure everyone still watching will hopefully feel optimistic as well for next week's race. But until then, I've been Lane Everingham, my co-commentator, as always, Michael Garone Jr., and we'll see you next week for the Spanish Grand Prix at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Until then, goodbye.